A 17-year-old aristocrat falls in love with a kind but poor artist aboard the luxurious, ill-fated RMS Titanic. 84 years later, a 100-year-old woman named Rose DeWitt Bukater tells the story to her granddaughter Lizzie Calvert, Brock Lovett, Louis Bodine, Bobby Buell, and Anatoly Mikhailovich on the Keldysh about her life set in April 10, 1912, on a ship called Titanic when young Rose boards the departing ship with the upper-class passengers and her mother, Ruth DeWitt Bukater, and her fiancé, Caledon Hockley. Meanwhile, a drifter and artist named Jack Dawson and his best friend Fabrizio de Rossi win third-class tickets to the ship in a game. And she explains the whole story from departure until the death of Titanic on its first and last voyage April 15, 1912 at 2:20 in the morning. After winning a trip on the RMS Titanic during a dockside card game, American Jack Dawson spots the society girl Rose DeWitt Bukater, who is on her way to Philadelphia to marry her rich snob fiancé Caledon Hockley. Rose feels helplessly trapped by her situation and makes her way to the aft deck and thinks of suicide until she is rescued by Jack. Cal is therefore obliged to invite Jack to dine at their first-class table, where he suffers through the slights of his snobbish hosts. In return, he spirits Rose off to third class for an evening of dancing, giving her the time of her life. Deciding to forsake her intended future altogether, Rose asks Jack, who has made his living making sketches on the streets of Paris, to draw her in the nude wearing the invaluable blue diamond Cal has given her. Cal finds out and has Jack locked away. Soon afterwards, the ship hits an iceberg and Rose must find Jack, while both must run from Cal even as the ship sinks deeper into the freezing water. Deep-sea explorer Brock Lovett has reached the most famous shipwreck of all, the Titanic. Emerging with a safe believed to contain a diamond called the Heart of the Ocean, he discovers the safe does not hold the diamond but a drawing of a beautiful woman wearing it. When Brock is later interviewed on TV, he shows the drawing to the cameras, and a 100-year-old woman named Rose Calvert living in Michigan recognizes the woman in the drawing herself. On a visit to Brock's explorer ship over the wreck, Rose tells her story of the Titanic and its ill-fated voyage. Engaged to a would-be steel magnate, Caledon Hockley, she boards the Titanic's first-class suites with him and her mother in Southampton. Also boarding are Jack Dawson and his best friend Fabrizio de Rossi, after a lucky poker game wins them tickets in steerage. When Rose attempts suicide by jumping off the stern in third class, Jack pulls her back onto the ship, and a bond is forged between them as Jack is invited by her into first class the following day. Rose's mother and Caledon Hockley try desperate measures to keep them apart. But that strategy goes out the window when the Titanic collides with an iceberg, and due to a design flaw, begins to sink despite being proclaimed unsinkable. Now Rose and Jack must fight to stay alive, but is young Jack already doomed because of his lower status as a steerage passenger? Thanks for watching this amazing story on A&B Movies World.